इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जान मिलते हैं नानकोर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
A very good afternoon to all the dear friends and viewers who have joined us our webinar series. We, the entire team of Franchise India, welcomes each one of you to Business Opportunity webinar. This is a digital representation of the business opportunity which we have got for you. Franchise India is totally investor-focused company where our aim every day is to provide maximum business opportunities, franchisee solutions to all the potential business buyers so that they can get a correct and the complete understanding from our side and take the right and conscious decision of selecting the franchisee business for themselves. With this introduction, may I invite and welcome management team of Franchise India, Sir and Sonia ma'am. Sonia ma'am, she'll be taking all your queries and she'll be sharing her knowledge, her viewpoints and suggestions with each one of us so that we take the understanding about the brand as well as about the market. The brand and the business opportunity which we are representing for each one of you today is KAD24. It's an e-learning business opportunity for each one of you where the brand can be signed up with only 1 lakh rupees. That's the investment criteria they have kept for all the investors. And it is our privilege to invite Kostuban, who has joined us today to talk about this opportunity. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today, taking time from your busy schedule and talking about this great model with each one of us. We welcome you and we request you to please put on your PPT so that we can have a presentation from your side.
Thank you, Archana. And thanks, Sonia, for joining this and sparing your time for this. I'll just share the screen now. Yeah. Can you?
So it's a, yeah, you have to select the PPT. So you want me to help with the PPT? I can share my screen.
I'm seeing it on my screen. Can you see now anything?
No, so it's a whiteboard.
Okay. How about
relaunch it again? You want me? I can share my screen for you.
Yeah, something.
Sure. Just allow me 1 minute. I'll share my screen for you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. So I don't know, should I share by now? Yeah, thank you. Thanks once again. I hope you can all see the screen and hear me too.
Yes, sir.
So this is CAT. I represent KAD24, and I will take you through this presentation slides. So KAD24 Techno Solutions Private Limited is a company which was established in February 2017, and since then we have provided high-end automotive engineering consulting to high-end customers such as Mercedes-Benz Research and Development, and now Ola Mobility, which is one of India's fastest upcoming electric car company. Now, one of our products is physics models, which is why we are talking today. And physics models is a high-end physics online e-learning solution. So on the top left, you see our logo, which is basically from the automotive background. And on the right side, you can see our pedigree. And it's not very easy to become an engineering supplier to Mercedes-Benz, which is one of the world's topmost, I will say, automotive engineering and technology companies. So coming to physics models, it's a self-learning portal, and we offer specifically the for people class 10th, 11th, and 12th. And it's available on all devices. So unlike many competitors, we offer a site, of course, a simple site, which can be viewed on your mobile, laptop, desktop, smart TV, anytime, anywhere. And our objective is to make this physics as a quick reference guide. And we all know that physics is a very dreadful subject. It's not easy and it causes stress. Yeah. And therefore, our objective is to make it simple, attractive, easy to digest for students everywhere, that they can not only grasp it quickly, but also come out successful in their studies. So how we have done this is that we have specially designed this technology, 3D sketches, color images, and we have added solved problems and exercises so that it becomes a very quick, rapid reference guide as against textbooks or many other online solutions. Okay. You go to the next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So the three main points are that the content is neither too big nor too small. It's customized because we want it to be a quick reference guide. And it's designed based on what students really need, right? And it's easily accessible. And most important, it has to be affordable. And we believe that we must be a site which must be affordable for the middle class. And so that people in main cities, tier 1, tier 2 can easily afford it and work with it for a considerable period of time. So when we say accessible, we mean device accessible and also for a significant period. So if people who buy our bundle, volume 1 and 2, can have it for 2 years, it's a one-time purchase. So for 2 years, it's accessible, which is a significant amount of time and the student can really do well. Third point, as you see on the slide, is a quick reference guide. We all know that exams are a huge burden on children, and our site reduces that burden. It can be also used by parents, because in many cases we have found that parents want to teach their children, which is fine. In many cases, tutors want to teach the children, and our animations and sketches and drawings make it easy for tutor to save his time or her time and focus on teaching rather than drawing things. So that's how we fill in that huge gap. And of course, we have our own very clear explanation. In our experience, the explanation of concepts many times is difficult to understand. All of you have gone through high school. I did not tell you. It's very painful and you have to read that 25 times, yeah, from a textbook. So we make it easy with a very clear communication so that a student can get it in a first couple of times. And that is a huge time saving and reducing stress. So below there are some statistics. You can see there are 220 plus videos, and we will be increasing that further in the future. Number of topics covered are 130 plus. Now, what's the meaning of this 130 plus? So if you refer a standard Bible in physics, that's like people like Professor H.C. Verma, the others have written, that's called, this referred to as the Bible of physics. There are 47 chapters which cover class 10th, 11th and 12th. And for anybody appearing for 12 boards or JEE mains, those 47 chapters are bare minimum. I mean, of course, if you do well in those chapters, then that you would have, at least you will do pretty well. And there are 200 plus solved problems and lots of test questions. So I myself am a mechanical engineer from NIT Surat and Institute of Management, Calcutta, a full-time course. So one of the things which I found important was that physics is needed to get through engineering in a good way, in easy way. And physics is also required for students who later on pass engineering and go into a career in industry. Next slide, please. Yeah. So on this slide, we just give you a kind of a glimpse of our site and how we have made it. And you will immediately see it's different from every other site. There are lots of respected sites in physics, and we respect our competitors, of course. But on the left, you can see just I will say it's a 3D model. And looking at this image, a student gets a idea of, let's say, a complex concept like a block and spring and what happens when a block collides with a spring. You can write 20 pages on it, but we feel that one picture, and I think that of automotive. So this is an example of our sketch. These sketches are made with a lot of precision. Then on the right hand side, you can see some kind of a website extract. It's 100% Indian product, etc. And so this whole physics course is designed on a learning management platform, and that's one of the best in the world. And that gives many options for students to go through it without distraction. Now, a question may arise in your mind: why not YouTube? Physics Models is present on YouTube. We have more than 1.5 million views, 10,000 subscribers. However, this site is superior to the YouTube because in the YouTube, you have a lot of distraction. You press on something, of course, you can see the video, Physics Models videos are also there, but immediately it leads to some other video. And on the right, there's a huge panel with 20 other videos, and students can get distracted with advertisements. Now, I need not tell you that advertisements are very painful, whether it's a video or whether it's, you start opening your mobile. So in our physics models, we have made sure that when you open our videos, there are no ads, right? There will be no pop-up ads or links to some other sites. Below, you can see the pricing. We believe in giving a lot. So if somebody doesn't want to buy the full course, want to buy only one chapter, let's say friction or something, then that's dead cheap at 49 rupees. It's a throwaway price. I think it's something like having a coffee in a restaurant. And this kind of flexibility, I doubt whether everybody else offers. So starting from one chapter. The next block that you see here is volume 1. So if you open a textbook, typical textbook, like Professor H.C. Verma, you'll see a volume 1 and a volume 2. And how the school curriculum is organized is volume 1 is for class 11. They spend a full year reading that. And volume 2 is for class 12th, and they spend a full year in class 12. And these 2 years, we divided neatly into a volume 1 and a volume 2. If you buy volume 1 only, there is a pricing. It's some 22 chapters. But if you buy volume 1 and 2 combined, you get all the 47 chapters at a, I will say, a very reasonable price. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, videos aren't everything. And we know that there is no single medium of communication which is going to help students, right? You need a multi mode of communication to get the thing across. So courses which have only videos are not going to meet the objectives. Courses which have only text is a textbook, which is not going to meet the objective. So we have mixed it nicely. So on the left, you see a image, and this image is, of course, you can see a video button in the center, but the video also it's not only an animation. It consists of things, images like these, which you can see is very colorful, attractive. If you want to see a textbook, you're free to open a textbook and see how that looks. I wish you all the best. So this is in our language, makes it very simple, and it confirms to the highest quality of the explanation, right? So this is how one can stare at it, look at it, absorb it, and also easy to remember because it's not just a black and white image. Now on the right hand side, you see the digital models that we have created. You can see the convex lens in that. It looks like a glass lens. It has that look and feel of a concave lens, and therefore you can see the objects and how the things are organized in it. A light source on the left. We could also have made it very simple, like a textbook showing a few arrows, but that doesn't increase understanding. At the same time, we don't want to make it a site which is not practical. So it's a very practical site which relates to textbooks, which relates to the students' requirements to pass an exam at the end of the day, which is the Indian education system requirement. Now, we also have another site which is not presented here, called physicsmodels.com, which is meant for students outside of India. And those students do not go for mugging up and passing exams. They go for understanding concepts. For those kind of students also, this is very interesting to understand how the things work, and then solve problems. And our Indian education system is somehow understand it and somehow solve some 100 problems. So just to put the whole thing in perspective. Next slide, please. And we have some appreciations from cross-section of people. This is an appreciation from an educationist. He has been senior director of an Institute of Management and also had a corporate career. And these kind of people appreciate how the subject is presented to the student. So all children are intelligent, according to us. Every student is brilliant, son, daughter, everybody. It's only how that thing is presented to them. And we are confident that they can easily grasp and become brilliant, or they're already very, very intelligent. So that's what he's saying here, that what a child needs today is the clarity of the basic principles with minimum waste of time. So children don't have the time today for very long lectures and sitting through hours and hours. So our videos are about 4.5 minutes duration, not 1 hour or 10 hours. So maximum video that I have put here is 7 minutes, and minimum could be 3-4 minutes. And then comes some images which they can look at and digest quickly. So that's what he's talking about, a time-saving way of learning a difficult subject, a nightmare subject like physics. Okay, next one, please. Yeah, this is coming from a graduate of IIT with 25 years of working in the industry. He has children, and of course he's busy, so he doesn't have time, to spend, teach children A for apple, B for ball, and all that. So this kind of parents find physics models easy to put their children on it, because there are no advertisements and children will not go to internet. That gives additional confidence. So any device is okay. You can have an old desktop or some old laptop and things should work. A good internet connection is of course required. So what he's talking about in this appreciation of physics models is not just that, okay, it's a good site and all that. And he says that we need to evoke passion and interest. And our site, as you saw in those images, it brings out the passion in children for physics. So they answer, okay, this is how a lens looks like. This looks good. And when they go to the lab, when the school's open, when they go to the lab, when they touch the lens, they can connect to the image that we put there. Yeah. So this is an appreciation for the quality, and the important point that he has put is it's clear, concise, and good quality. Yeah, next slide, please. On the top is a recommendation, and people who want to invest as franchisees will have to look at coaching institutes as well for mass sales. And this is a very famous coaching institute in Bihar called Vertex Education. And if you go to Vertex Education, you can see here that they teach for JEE main and advanced. And this is, of course, a high level of coaching institute. And they have a 2-year program like you have Kota in Rajasthan. And he is one of the founders of Vertex. And you can go on the site and see they have a lot of publicity in the newspaper. There are a lot of media coverage too. And Vertex, and he himself is a graduate from IIT. He has 20 years of experience in teaching physics and maths, and he teaches for IIT entrance. And he has appreciated the site, saying that this physics models will give a foundation. Now, I don't know how many of you have children who have gone to a tutorial. I don't know. So you, all of you know, whether you have relatives or your own children, you have put in some tuition class. In tuition class, what happens is that the tutors will focus on the front 3 benches, even the tuition classes, because that's where they know that these guys will pass IIT, or that's their customer base. But the people beyond the 3rd bench could be our child, right? It could be from the 4th bench to the 10th bench, and those people tend to zoom off because they can't understand what's happening there. What is this person telling? Everybody cannot even understand in that tutorial class, but they have attended it because as parents, you have paid for it, they have gone there. But having come back from that class, are they happy with that class? If you ask most of them, they will probably say, no, we're not happy with that class because we couldn't make out what's happening there. That's the challenge. So the marketing point here is that if students go through physics models, right, they get that foundation, then they attend this tuition class, then they will understand what this person is telling. Then they ramp up further and their opportunities become maybe 5x more, because inherently point that I'm trying to make. So we are not trying to say buy physics models, crack JEE. No, we are not trying to say that. We are saying buy physics models, get your foundation right, and you have a good chance to crack the JEE main. But after the JEE main, not to forget, and that's the second exam which students will need to write for the purpose of actually getting into an IIT. So what he's telling here is those who want to crack the JEE main, and that's the first step, can get their fundamental concepts right, and then they can go into more depth. Right? It's very, very important point. Coming to other simpler exams like 12th boards, etc. Of course, it's not to the level of JEE advanced, and preparation for JEE main should be pretty good to attack all those exams. Now, below that, who found some particular thing useful, magnetic field or right-hand thumb rule. Another student, in fact, is in the US, University of Connecticut. His concentration is biophotonics, and he said that the explanation of biprism is very concise and way better than others. So if you read Fresnel biprism on some textbooks, one can get totally confused and say, okay, end of the day's play. But we have to make it easy, attractive, and digestible. Yeah, next please. Yeah, thank you. Now I will take you through an overview prepared by Franchiseindia, pretty good slides, on the Indian EdTech industry. So this kind of online e-learning comes under EdTech, education technology, and what are the emerging, we should know what are the emerging opportunities. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so here on the vertical y-axis, we have 2 categories, formal education, informal education. Right? On the left-hand side, you can see the vertical axis. And on the horizontal x-axis on the top, you can see the age of the student. So this is an overview. So if you see 0 to 10, you have got pre-primary and primary education. But you can also see, very interestingly, maybe only in India, that the tutoring, private coaching, the pink one, that particular line is stretching right from primary education and going up to secondary education. That means Indian students, Indian parents rather, put their children into coaching maybe shortly after they are born or something like that. So our band, so that's, it's sure that students need coaching. There's no doubt about that, right? So this is the data. There's the data from the field. And below that is test preparation. So again, a lot of students are trying to get tutors, and tutors are very expensive. If you get a tutor home for your daughter, it's going to be pretty expensive. Maybe, 5,000 rupees a month or something like that. So per year, it will be 60,000 rupees. And then also you're not sure whether your son or daughter has really grasped from the tutor, right? Depends on the quality of the tutor, the background of the tutor, and so on. Our band is that blue vertical band, which has been drawn here roughly between, let's say, 13 years to 20 years. This is the band where people apply for 10th, 11th, 12th, and they do that kind of education. And this self-learning physics models gives them the time to learn at their pace without the pressure of a tutor breathing down their neck. And they can learn the fundamentals, and then they can go to a tutor or get a tutor, and they will be probably able to match the tutor in their knowledge and the way they speak. Because the fundamental concept here is that the children are brilliant, not that we are brilliant and they are not brilliant. That's not the concept. Children are brilliant and they need just the right inputs and presentation, and they will beat us. Now, below this, you can see that the educational infrastructure is schools, colleges, training institutes, and all of these are working together in some way. This is also your market as a franchisee in some way. Some training institutes may use this physics models, some schools may use this, and parents may use this, and tutors. The content delivery in India is divided here into various categories. You have the blended instructor-led education. When you say blended, it means partly online, partly offline. And that's because there is also a complaint from many people that online e-learning has a limitation because students cannot concentrate and they get switched off by the online education. And we have tried to attack that problem by making the online more attractive and self-learning. So there is nobody monitoring the student. Student comes, checks into physics models. We are not sitting on top of the head and saying, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Whereas many other coaching institutes, they sit with the hammer on the head and say, finish this, finish that, but without allowing the time for the student to understand what's going on. Okay. And so you have the computer web-based training. And then third one you have below, I'm talking about the below one, you have the textbooks and self-study material. Textbooks are also good, they're important. They have a very good structure, and physics models along with textbooks is a great combination. And then we have the video, audio systems, and simulation-based training. So when we simulation, so there is the new technology of the future will be AR, augmented reality, and VR, virtual reality. So Google is working on that. One needs head devices, and if you make the animation suitable for viewing in 3D, then, and if people can afford those devices also, then students can learn with advanced technologies, which we will probably plan for the future. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this slide gives what is the opportunity for you guys as franchisees. So the K-12 segment is vast. It's 275 million students and some big data here. And verticals are divided into three. K-12 is classes 1 to 12. Higher education is after 12th. And of course, there is a segment of lifelong learning. And you can see the size of the market is gigantic here, that the total addressable market in financial year 2020 itself, 275 million school-going students. And that's your market. That's where you approach. And online paid users are itself 1.2 million. And there are lots of people in tier 1, tier 2 cities, and maybe villages as well, who can't even get a tutor, but they can definitely have mobile phone. They have mobile phone, in fact, and they can switch on, they can see physics models, and they can learn, and they can come on par. People in tier 2 students can come on par with the Delhi. 5G today, if there is some downloading issue with some remote place, internet not good, with 5G, everything will really be fast. So if you catch your students now, they will stay with you, they will stay with us. And when 5G comes, they'll be able to see things even better, much better. Now, the last row is what's next for education. So I'm putting my arrow here. There is high competition, lots of people, Byju's and everybody is there in online edtech, and they are trying to introduce various kinds of personalization. And what's important is the opening of B2B opportunity. We are B, you are B, so it's B2B, and the student is C, so that's B2C. And there's a huge amount of space opening up for this marketing and revenue earning opportunity. So last column is, of course, you can see new market creation and high growth on the back of increasing awareness and willingness to pay. So willingness to pay is something which you have to convince the students, and by putting various other costs that they will anyway incur by not doing physics models. Next one. Yeah, thank you. So here is a slide which says that physics models cuts across categories. So you have the blue bar, which has been marked here on the left-hand side. On the top side, you have various grades: preschool, primary, secondary, higher secondary, graduation, and work life. And what we have observed is people who log into physics models, or the viewership is even increasing to a higher age group. So it could be tutors and parents. So your market size is this: the private tuitions market, and the coaching for entrance exams is the market. And as you have seen in earlier slides, input some coaching is needed for the student to come up to the level and pass those exams. And exam preparation for post-graduation also is an opportunity. Side, you have for child skills development. On the first bar, you have play schools at a very young age. On these kind of online e-learning for science, you have all the competitors like Byju's, Vedantu, Career Launcher, Akash, Una Academy, Coursera, and Simpler. And many of them, all of them probably are paid courses. Yeah. Next one, please. Now, the important thing, what happened in the last 1.5 years is COVID. So COVID has almost closed the schools. To be very simple, it has increased the risks of traveling. Surely, you would not send your young son or daughter out in the evenings for going to a coaching class and coming back late at night, which used to be common earlier. But now you would think twice before doing that because of the risk of COVID. Even apart from schools. So schools and coaching class, I'm putting as two different travelings. One travel to school and back, other is traveling to coaching class and back, both very risky. So what does the student do sitting at home is the issue, and learning has to happen. So on the left, you can see schools are expanding their online programs. Massive online open courses have started, including from IITs, lots of videos from them. But learners are empowered through mobile learning and micro learning, and there are more artificial intelligence gateways. So these AIs, artificial intelligence, are slowly getting inbuilt into the learning management system. So in the beginning, maybe many of you missed it, I said that the physics models is based on a learning management system where the content is very neatly organized. Now, very gradually, as AI comes into the learning management system, it will become more and more interactive with the students. So some of our tests, for example, we have a theory test in our physics models at the end of the chapter. In that theory test, all the questions are shuffled. So it's not that you know that the answer to question number 5 is 5A. So first time if you answer 5, intelligence. 5G I already spoke about. I spoke about open education resource to gain more adoption. So open education is basically what we are doing. It's open to all. And gamification. So gamification is another example I gave of the test, theoretical test or practical test. So where you shuffle questions and you have gamification. And video-based learning and mobile learning, which we have already have in our physics models. On the right side, you have some more description about the online model for those who are not familiar. And classes that used to offer subjects under one roof are now giving training through various online channels because of the COVID risks. And courses on specific subjects are being created. So we have also done the same. So in physics, we have 47 chapters, as I said. Each chapter is a subject, and that chapter becomes a course. Right? And on the right-hand side block, you can see that many customized courses on the rise. These are for individual students, how fast they want to do the course, how slow. So for example, we have a feature in physics models where we can give a time limit to answering a question, but we have removed that. So our objective is not to put a time limit and say, answer it in 5 minutes. We can do that. We have that software, but we have not done that. Let the student take time, take maybe 15 minutes, doesn't matter, but let the student absorb and learn the course. Once the student gets it, after that, the student will himself or herself crack it in 2 minutes. But the options are available to make it more customized. Now below you see a block where I'm pointing my mouse, where tutors can also use physics models to improve their brand image. So they're associated with physics models. That's where as a franchisee, you can sell them because they cannot make the models that I showed on the sketch. No way they can make it and draw that. They cannot generate that. So they should focus on what they are good at. That's their core competency. Our core competency is creating those digital models, which is why physics models is called physics models. So tutors can get brand image, and we can even have a feature in future where teachers which are certified by us, we can put it on our homepage. And I'm thinking about that. We can discuss that, where we can also give some marketing bandwidth for tutors who adopt physics model, freedom to do that. And also tutors who can't reach across the country, if we put their name on the website, like I showed you one example, many students can write to them and say, okay, can we learn from you? And then they can expand their business also. Next slide, please. A slide where we see 1 in 3 high schoolers. The private coaching is the green one, and the orange one is the overall India coaching share online. And you can see that the graphs are reducing from 2014 to 2017-18. So private tuition, if it was orange bar, it has become the green bar. That's how you read this graph. So it can be a little difficult for you to read it. So if you come to classes 9 to 10 and 11 to 12, in 2014, the orange bar was much bigger, right? Beyond 30, let's say 35, or whatever the unit is. And that orange bar has reduced to green bar. So people are reducing private coaching. There could be 2 reasons. One, COVID, but not only COVID. The other 2 could be that the quality of the tutors, not many, and the aspirants are much more. That could be the reason. Same for rural and same for urban. So rural is on the top graph, urban is on the bottom graph, and everywhere the private tutors are reducing. That means the students are doing something else and they are good. And on the right side, you can see the analysis for that. They're looking for subject matter expertise. Today's world is for subject matter expertise. Anybody who's not an expert has no place. So the parents are also looking for expert places where students can really accurately and properly. And the size of the Indian tuition industry is on top, $25 billion US. That's a huge market for all of you who want to become franchisee partners. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so the franchisee proposal, I'll take you through this quickly. So India, we already said, it presents a vast opportunity for consultants. We have the KAD24 portal. You will be the franchise consultant, and you will reach out to the student who is the final consumer of this product. And the jobs, the roles are that the new students enrollment, create brand awareness, business development, I identify the right locations for creating the brand awareness, and then servicing them and improving. So if a brother learns, then what about his sister? Sister learns, what about the younger brother? Those are account hunting and farming. So you capture households which are already, I will say, getting into physics models. Next one. So the network of the unit franchisee will be managed by a master franchisee. So the plan of Franchiseindia and KAD24 together is to appoint a city master franchisee. Let's say for Mumbai, there will be our Pune or Nagpur. Master franchisee will have many sub franchisees, the unit franchisees and consultants. And there's a good opportunity for you to hire people who are looking for employment, of course, qualified people. And so you can have a very large network because you don't have to invest in a showroom. So unlike a car or something, you don't need a showroom with a lot of interior decoration. So key roles are already there. You have to develop the network, you have to get students, ensure brand guidelines are followed, training, and the point of contact for, you will be the point of contact for KAD24 regarding the unit franchisee operations. And you have to set up the multiple unit franchisees. So you have a widespread sub network who reports to you, and so that you can manage the volumes and the sales. At the end of the day, we count the sales like in any other business. And also impart development training to franchisees about this product and how to go about it, what to do, what not to do, and so on. And of course, last but not the least, after all this, achieve the sales target and onboard the decided number of clients. Next slide, please. So the advantages, as we discussed, you don't need a expenditure on infrastructure, no showroom, and you don't need a go down, no storage, no logistics. It's online, so that's a huge advantage. Anybody can start quickly. There are high ROI and high margins on this business because there is a market requirement. Right? They're not trying to push something into the market. There's also a pull from the market. And the third one is you are exposed to a $25 billion growing industry, which is one of the fastest growing industries in India. Points being that we have a huge population. Indian demography shows that the young population is high as compared to many, many countries. And on top of that, there is a purchasing power also in the Indian economy. And there's a quest for learning. Next one. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the brand sign-up fee is 1 lakh. That's all. And we will have a 3-year contract to give you breathing time to start cracking. So the revenue potential, as I already explained, there are 3 categories of our products, highly flexible, although we will motivate you to go for the highest bundle, which is 3,000 plus GST, because that's where the students and whoever buys it gets the minimum price per chapter. The number of chapters is fixed. So if they buy this volume 1 and 2, they will be, and validity is 2 years, they'll be able to get the minimum price per chapter. And the target is 50 enrollments per month. So that will get you a revenue of at least 1 lakh. I'm taking the median one of class 11, but if you do 50 into 3,000, that becomes 1.5 lakhs. The gross margins, which is important for you, you're looking for money in this, is we are prepared to share a very generous amount of 50% of the earnings, excluding the GST, the main basic price, MRP. So we will share in the first half 50% with you, and gradually it will reduce over the years to 30%, so that you also recover your expenses. And we do realize that you are partners, you are not suppliers, you are partners, you're working together with us, we are together in this game. So we are prepared to share a very generous amount of 50%, which will gradually reduce to 30%, which is also quite significant. Return on investment, you have the minimal operation expenses as explained. You may have some local travel or some small expenses which you will absorb, and you have a potential to gain revenues without investing in any physical infrastructure. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the partner profile. So you need to have some experience in the category. It could be existing tutors, could be partners. You could be young entrepreneurs with strong business development and customer relationship management skills, that's CRM. And could be even BSc college students. For them, it's a part-time opportunity, because we are not saying we are not going to monitor you 12 hours a day. What did you do in the morning? What did you do in the afternoon? We are not going to monitor you like that. It's so you can definitely have college students as sub-unit franchisees, and they can run with it, with the relatives, friends, contacts, and everybody today has 500 contacts in their Facebook. So I don't see a big problem in college students taking this up. And there are operators, and on the right side you have investors and those who want a master franchise opportunity. This is a very good, great opportunity while the time is right. So the time is right today in India, so one should take this opportunity when the time is right. After 3 years or 5 years, it could be a little late. So this is the right time. So the key skill sets for a partner that we are looking for is business development, right? Lead generation, full circle client management, some experience in the education industry, entrepreneurial mindset, so go-getter attitude should be there. You should be able to identify new business and go after it. And compliance, of course, brand guidelines is important. So Franchiseindia will talk further to you about brand guidelines, and fairly good understanding of coaching industry, and able to identify the right prospects. So please remember, we are not competing with the tutors. So some people will question me, are we competing with the tuition classes, with the tutors? No, we are complementing them. Are we competing with the textbook? No, we are complementing the textbook. So we are not here to close down somebody else. We are here to make other people succeed. You make you succeed and make other people succeed. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, thank you. So this is the complete tech support. Then we will give you, we have the platform. So platform is available, content is available, and we will constantly increase the content. Payment gateway. So third point here where my mouse is pointing is payment gateway. We already have a long-standing tie-up with CC Avenue, which is ICICI Bank, which is one of India's largest payment portals, very robust, very secure, and we don't give details, card details to others and all that. And CC Avenue fully manages this payment gateway. And training we'll give about what is KAD24, what is physics models and all that. And marketing support will be talked about. Next one. Yeah, so this is about the size of the market and some of the problem areas which you can cover. So we talked about India's size. We talked about the lack of quality physics tutors in tier 2, 3, 4 markets. And I will add tier 1 also. Not that tutors in tier 1 are very good, and I've seen many of them. Can't even understand what they're trying to say. So and hybrid model is, which is hybrid means online plus offline. Is something which we'll explore in the future. So here, immediate hybrid model is our online with the tutors offline. So that is hybrid, right? So that's how you convince the tutor for a hybrid model, or even a school teacher. And 741 districts, the huge opportunity to set up 1,500 to 2,000 unit franchises. Okay, and I've already repeated many times that there's no initial investment, and there's also strong revenue potential and excellent return on investment because it's soft product. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think this is the end of the slide, I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Kasturbanji. This presentation, I would say, was very, very comprehensive, and the manner that you explained every aspect made it so easy for everyone, us to even comprehend. And this reflects your pedigree, the education experience that you all have put together in creating this business model.
And while you've talked at length on the overall opportunity, I would also say EdTech today is redefining how education is not only resourced, but how it is consumed. And where blended learning and personalized education is the only way quality education will be consumed. And I'm sure every parent and what we're seeing around would agree on that. And even the category that we are talking about is very big. India has a very big addressable market, Generation Z, Generation Alpha. And overall, if you look at this category, which is supplementary education, this is almost 39% of the overall education market, which makes it very, very attractive to be entered. Now, I'll just very quickly recap the opportunity. The courses which are being offered, it's very specialized on the subject, which is physics, where overall learning, understanding is made easy by working, I would say, on the foundation for a child, which also gives him a career path in the future. Very flexible and inclusive approach for an end user, which is child, which gives him per chapter, per module, per class kind of a usage. And also a very high level of engagement and interaction through video-based learning, 3D images and gamifications, which I would say is something which is the need of the hour. So the opportunity, friends, here is work from home. While it looks like a low investment opportunity, but at the same time, I would say it's very important to understand that this is not a return on investment business. You should not look at it as a return on the investment, but return on time business. It's asset light business, but at the same time, it is intellectual business where the only asset that you have is the time that you put in, and your returns are proportionate to that time. And the role of a franchisee is primarily acquisition of end users, which is children, and also at the same time retention of the same. So I'll just start with some of the questions, and friends, I will also request, and I did see somebody asking for the presentation. Since the presentation is very detailed, we'll be sharing with everyone who wants to have the entire presentation working on the financials. So I'll start with some questions, and friends, while I do that, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box and we'll ask any questions on your behalf. It could be on the model acquisition profile. Well, we have covered all of that, but anything that you feel is not clear, we'll go ahead and check on that. So, the first question which I wanted to really ask, well, it looks like for many investors, low investment, sit at home and work, but time is of essence, right? So if we get the right profile of people who put the right amount of time, there's a good return on that time one can expect. So what is your advice on the number of hours one might put, because this is flexi working hours, and while one might be in a similar profession or complementary profession, can still reach out to, their potential and users and onboard. And I would also say, business development is a very important aspect, while even when you don't come from education background, but you have sales or business development as an experience, or that's your flavor. Even these kind of profiles do a very good match for taking up the franchisee. So what ideally, Kasurbanji, what should be the ideal number of hours one should put? Because we have taken a figure of 50 odd enrollments that ideally one should be able to do. And I'm sure this comes from your experience of managing it for the last many years. So when we talk about number of hours, ideally, what number of hours should get, what kind of throughput is one of my questions. And when we talk about enrollments, and 50 would happen over a period of time, so maybe not in the first month. So first month could be marketing, and maybe second month I get the first batch, and I would follow that. So would you want to give maybe a complete timeline of how one begins and what time it takes to reach that level, and number of hours, because I think that's very, very important, because more time you put, you have a higher possibility of bringing your end user.
Yeah. Thank you, Sonia, for your comments. So talking of hours, the process of getting a student, it may take 3 phone calls. So the first phone call to the student hasn't even heard about the product. So they would say what it is, and then we send a link through WhatsApp, and then the student clicks on it. So first phone call, let's say 10 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes, or because it's a cold call, if in case a person is making cold call. The second call could be longer. It could be another 15 minutes to explain the product further. In case the student's parent comes online, which they will, because money is involved, parents will be the decision maker for the payment. Right? So total, we have now spent half an hour for one student. And later on, the parent will also need to go through the site. So they may have to click on the site and log in. And that process may have to be explained to the parent. Some parents are very savvy, some parents may not be that savvy also. So let's take another 15 minutes 15-20 minutes. So totally, let's say 1 hour, very round number, 1 hour for getting a student and parents and the ecosystem interested. For a tutor, it may be a shorter amount of time because tutors are already knowing the subject. So I'm talking physics tutors. So maybe 15 minutes plus 15 minutes could be more than a total half an hour. And the tutor decides, yes, I want to do it or do not want to do it. So this is the amount of time. So 50 users per month, why we kept, is out of 30 days, so roughly 1.25 or something students per day. So the day has 8 hours. So 1 hour, 1 hour. So we just thought we'll start gradually and give enough time for doing this. Secondly, there are a lot of database providers, professional database providers. So if we talk about Raipur, it's possible to get 1,000 students in Raipur by talking to the database providing company. And I can give the addresses of those companies. So a franchisee unit did not worry, oh, I don't know 1,000 students in class 10 or 12. So he gets the database and then he can then work on, then just call them, call those students one by one, and then he can exceed this target very easily because he's focused on this job. Accordingly, if a person spends 8 hours on this, he will be able to easily exceed this target of 50 users and make more revenue.
We're talking about 8 hours in a month, huh? 8 hours in a month.
And I'm talking about a per day. If he spends per 8 hours, he should be, I mean, not 8 hours every day, but if even if he spends 8 hours per day into, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks, he will be able to meet this target with that database.
And now when we talk about 50 enrollments per month, so are we actually saying that we'll have about 600 students in a year? Is that what we are implying? Or
yes,
we would have these 50 unique, I would say, classes or chapters, and there would be some unique number of students, because we'll have students who come for a longer duration and they would not just do one chapter, but they would stay for the entire year. So are we saying that we'll have these 600 students who are taking classes for the entire year? Is that what we are implying?
Yeah, we are implying that 50 students will buy the course per month. That means 600 students will buy physics models in over a year's time. Yeah, and some of those 50 may buy just one chapter for a trial, but most of the people find it worthwhile to buy either the 2,000 rupee one or 3,000 rupee one, because 49 rupees is for them also to put a card and make the payment and all that. It's a little bit painful, but yes, so 600 per year is the correct way to go about it.
Right. And if we also have to understand, the mathematics, typically, what is the life of a student in the course, how long do they stay in the course?
Yeah. So they normally stay for 2 years, because 11th and 12th is a block of 2 years in our education system. So if they join at the beginning of 11th, they will stay till the end of 12th, till they pass the board exam. If the student, because this is now the start of the education period where we are discussing today, schools are going to open. A. B, there are some parents who want their students in 10th itself to start, a typical mindset that let them start earlier so they'll have more breathing time. So we are sticking to even students from 10th onwards. So that means they have got 3 years to go to stay in this course. So if they want to extend after 2 years, we can extend the course.
All right. So while we say the role of a franchise partner is acquisition and retention, now how the fulfillment takes place? Does a franchise partner have any involvement in the fulfillment? One, and second, what kind of training is important? Because he need not be from education background or physics or science, so to say. He can be from any background, but preferably education or maybe complementary, I would say, occupations which can help him get the initial end user. So my question was obviously on the training one, what is important and what is the role that he would play outside acquisition and retention?
Yeah, so we will take let me see if I can share the screen itself, if that works. I would like to.
We cannot see anything on the screen.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, is it possible to, are you seeing anything now?
No, we cannot actually. We did see a few seconds back, but it was completely white.
Let me try again. Okay, I wanted to show the site itself, which I had opened. Okay.
Your website is that
my website. Yeah, my website.
okay? Let me. I think I did open your website. I'll just take a minute to show. Wait a minute. I'll share my screen. Yeah, I think this is where we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So on the top, so we will give a training to answer your question. And on the top, if you just click on chapters on that tab, yeah, so all the chapters are opening up here.
Yeah.
So here, if you click on any chapter, let's say chapter number 15, where let's say wave motion, anything, yeah. So if you click on that, then what is inside the chapter also opens up in a very transparent manner. So a person can see, yeah. So we can provide this kind of a training that how to navigate through the website, how to convince the student that this is what is there. So these are the topics that are covered, let's say 9 or 10 topics and all that. And this is one thing where, and then we can also give a dummy login to a student who wants to check out the chapter. So that will get enabled from our end, and we can do that so that the student can navigate through the chapters and understand what this product is about. This is for the franchisees.
And all these videos that we see, number of videos, topics, obviously would remain same, but number of videos, are they evolved over a period of time?
Yeah, they are evolved over a period of time, yes. And below there's a sample video, so you can just play on that, motors, for example.
This one?
Yeah, you can play on anything. There are 3 sample videos, which gives the franchisee and his end client an example of how it works. So if you can just maximize.
And you mentioned that.
Yeah.
This video I'll talk about Fleming's left-hand rule and an easy way to remember it at different times.
So these are sample videos.
The best way to remember Fleming's left-hand rule is that it's applicable to motors and not to generators.
Yeah, you can
Coming to the function of motor, the input to a motor is its magnetic field. There are lots of north poles and south poles inside a motor. And the other input is current. We supply current to a motor, something like a fan. And the output of that motor, the job of that motor is to start rotating.
Great. I think that's very, very helpful. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to go through. And a couple of questions, before we leave, because we're already at the end of our hour. I'll take from our audience. We have Mr. Aditya Das Gupta. He's looking for the entire presentation. We'll send it across to you. And he did ask on the number of enrollment. So we are presuming it should be 50, while it can go even higher. While 50 is the number one should target month on month. Yes, Aditya, that's month on month. And he says if that is not achieved, what's the ratio? I don't understand the question if that 50 is not achieved. And what I would also say is maybe the first month you will not have 50. It will take time to reach that 50 number, maybe the second month. So your first month has to be extremely planned, where you reach out to influencers, you reach out to the end users, and you start interacting with them. And I assume by the second month, you should be able to reach this number if you put in that kind of time. And yes, that's an important question we have from Apeksha, and she's asking what is the margin per student per course selected, and one. And I think she's also referring to the margins for a franchisee. For example, if you're saying 1 lakh is a per month revenue, and maybe that's out of all the 3 courses we have taken average weighted, and we say 2,000 is what we get, and 50 students we get 1 lakh. So typically, what are the margins for a franchisee is what I think she's also referring to. And do we have differentiated margins based on the courses or based on the class, or we have standard percentage which comes to a partner?
Yeah, so we made it very simple. The margin is based on the revenue. So that the MRPs that we showed, 49, 2,000, 3,000, 50% is off that. So if a person, to answer both the questions, if a person manages, let's say 60 student sales per month, then that's 60 into 2,000 rupees. Out of that total revenue, 50% we get, 50% straight away goes to the franchise.
Okay, can you explain that again? So if there's a 1 lakh revenue which has been
it's 50% is a constant revenue share. It's a revenue share of the revenue. So if there are 60 students enrolled per month at 3,000 rupees, 60 students have bought the 3,000 rupees course, then 60 into 3,000 is 1.8 lakhs, right? So out of that 1.8 lakhs, half, exactly 50% of that is 90,000 rupees. That 90,000 rupees is the earning of the franchisee.
Okay. And on which he does not have any expenses, and he himself ideally should be a BD person. He need not recruit anybody under him. And so which means that if you have a good number of students enrolled in the first 3 to 4 months, you can achieve the entire ROI and start making it profitable. And the overall tenure of the agreement is 3 years. And another question, how do we segregate the regions? So if I have somebody in, say, an X city, do we have multiple partners in the same city, or we define the geography? How do we go about it? And understanding this is blending learning, and people would go online. So you think geography would be a problem, or a franchise partner can pick students from any geography?
I think that is for Franchiseindia to answer, because the model I got from Franchiseindia was a master franchisee for each city who will manage the sub-franchise. Now, we have not gone into the detail of how the revenue share will be between the master franchisee and the sub-franchise. So that is something which to be discussed with Franchiseindia. Suppose
Right.
I'm a master franchisee and I have 3 people below
Right.
me, then obviously I have to share revenue with them.
Sure. And I would also suggest, friends, because this is important, and we'll also do maybe one-to-one interaction to understand your interest, and based on the city also, because every city would have a different potential. At the same time, we will also advise on the number of units which can come under each franchisee in over a given period of time. So how many you would need to add, say, in the first 3 months and the next set of 3 months, and ideally. For a master franchisee or major sub-franchise units, ideally should come in the first year, because more units you have under you, your penetration, and also I would say the interest in terms of ROI time becomes very good for all the stakeholders. Okay, I'll take another question.
Another model could be that for very large cities, we could have north, south, east, west, like north Delhi, south Delhi, east Delhi, west Delhi, like that. That is again a Franchiseindia discussion that we need to have.
We can do that. All right, great. So the number of enrollments, what we're talking about is unit, right? It is 50 per unit franchise, or 50 per master?
Well, we have not structured how many units will be there in every city, which is very general thing like master. But the master,
something should be good enough, and as we go by, there would be additional. And friends, I would request if we can have one-to-one interaction to make you understand these numbers and ROI in detail. I'll take one last question, which is on the marketing, which is a support which maybe a prospective partner or maybe onboarded partner would get from the company, and especially with respect to onboarding of students, which typically would translate to marketing support, and which would be digital marketing in that neighborhood. So this is a question from one of our prospective investors on the webinar. Yes.
So we can make some, what we discussed with your team was that we can make some collaterals, and those collaterals can be shared with the franchise unit. But we are a thin and very lean company, and we are not going to have physical people on the ground to do the marketing.
Absolutely. And also in a world where everything is digital, we need to be on the right platforms, and all that marketing has to be very, very geography centric. And I would advise every prospective investor, your first month is only about marketing. If you don't market, then you will not have. And this is also a business where you have to continuously market. So whatever revenues you earn, keep a percentage of that, towards the marketing and acquisition of your new set of end users, which is students. So any locations rollout, this was one question which I missed. Aapki priority locations consume, cities, regions. Is that something that you want to maybe take it up?
Yeah, we don't have any priority as such, because we feel that a parallel rollout everywhere through a number of franchisees across each city will work. And we have students from it can be from Meghalaya to anywhere. We don't have any.
Sure.
We need not go step by step in that area wise.
Sure. Very helpful, Kastubhanji. And because we come close to our webinar, I will also request if you have a last message that you want to give to everyone. And also I will request Archana to announce a discovery day that we call, where we bring our investors on a one-to-one call. We can bring you on a Zoom call, any kind of presentations, demo, that any of our partners would want to go to. And rather, I would encourage when you come for these one-on-one meetings, because we can't do so much on this platform, we can maybe block 45 minutes where you go through the entire demo, classes, subjects, how we cover, and that could be very, very interactive session that can be done one-on-one. So the date is 13th of July is what Ashna has mentioned.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
13th of July.
Yeah,
or
sir
10th.
is available on 13th of July as he's traveling. So we'll be back and then we have fixed 13th.
Great. Great. So friends, it is 13th of July. We look forward to receiving your inquiries and your preferable time slot, and we'll confirm and reconfirm back to you on that availability. And again, before we close, a last message, Kasurbanji.
Yeah, thank you, Sonia, for your kind words and general direction to everyone. I think that's really heartening, and it's very heartening to have this webinar. I thank Franchiseindia, and I thank all the attendees which you have kindly organized, and I really feel excited that we are on the verge of something really big.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank all our participants who stayed with us for the last 1 hour, 12 minutes. Thank you. And we look forward to receiving your inquiries on the hotline number. And I'll request Ashna to kindly take it over for the final closing.
So thank you so much, sir, for joining in today and giving us this understanding as well as opportunity to represent your brand. We would like to thank Sonia ma'am for your time. Dear friends, as rightly said by Sonia ma'am, we have blocked 13th of July to have one-to-one interaction with team KAD24. Please book your slot at our business hotline number, which is 9717683838. We request each one of you to save this number in your phone book so that you get a regular updates from our site through broadcast messages. You can also connect with us at different social handles platform. We are available at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Do share your valuable suggestions and feedback because that will help us in improving our process. You wish to join management team at their respective LinkedIn IDs, information on your screen. You can join Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their respective IDs. And as we always say that we are there to help you with the maximum business opportunities. We try to maximize your day. We invite you to join us for our Bharat Franchise Show, which will start at 7 o'clock. Today, we are celebrating our Uttar Pradesh chapter, and today will be our 32nd day of this particular journey. So do join us by doing registration either at business hotline number or at the Facebook page. And tomorrow, under our Saturday weekend program, we want to invite you for our retail franchise show, which will start at 12 p.m. Again, do registration either at the business hotline number or at the Facebook. Thank you so much once again for joining in today. Have a very safe day. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Archie.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks. Take care.